All, this is Dr. Mubin Sayed from DrBeen.com. Welcome to one more show. This is the last show for 2020. Happy New Year in advance to all the cool beans. Thank you so much for being with me. And here we have Kyrie. So I cannot pick up Kyrie because she would just not let you pick up, but she is roaming around here and Luffy is outside. I have requested my wife that if Luffy comes in, she can bring him upstairs. Kyrie is here. So happy New Year to everyone. Let's do this. We'll do some drawing today. We'll have fun. We'll enjoy. Let's make this a little happy. Here is. Let me see. Let me show you Kyrie. It's not going to be very fun camera, but please don't mind. If you see here, do you see Kyrie is here? So she is going to come back. Here she is. And what she does is she rises up like this and just does this and goes away. So that was Kyrie. And here we are. Okay, so let's do this. I'm going to share some of the things that we did, some of the fun that we had, and we'll do some drawings as well. And that is how we'll celebrate our new year. John is here as well. John says, we have 16 likes for the 13 here. Excellent. John, you want people to unlike some of it? Happy New Year to you as well, Skyfrog. Alexander says, hi, Kyrie. So here she is. So interestingly, Luffy has stopped being in my room, and this was Kyrie. And Kyrie has started being here. That is the strangest thing. She has developed the... Thank you very much, S-Sun. So the lighting is, if I turn the main lights off, then there is a red light over there, and there is a blue light here. Okay. So KB Usenet says, so here is Kyrie once more. So excited to draw. Yes, let's do some drawing. Jean is here as well. Hey, Jean, how are you? So you're going to probably see Kyrie. She's not going to leave me alone today. DDS says mood lighting. Yes. AS, Happy New Year to you as well. Skyfrog says, so which channel do I watch? You have both open. Awesome. Press like on both of them, then watch whichever you like. MGW says, I haven't been here in a while. Look forward to the... I hope everyone is doing well. We're all doing good. Yes, Al is missing today. Hey, Jim, how are you doing? Happy New Year, Prancer, to you as well. And I just wish Kyrie can leave me alone. Look at her. She is rubbing her side of the mouth on the keyboard, which can turn off this. Oh, Kyrie, stop. Kyrie. So she is on my switchboard for this camera, and she's trying to sit on it. Okay. So we are safe. We are safe. Kyrie, stop. Kelly says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year to you as well, Kelly. Barbara is here. Happy New Year. Tex says, Happy New Year. So I wanted to say thank you to Texas Meg and DDS for their numerous moderations throughout the year. And as Texas says sometimes, PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, sometimes uh, people just have disagreement or anger or pain, and they just unload that. So Texas and D, thank you very much. I'm totally distracted by Kyrie. As you can tell, she's just moving around. Okay, so Bay Baylis FX says, it's a thank you for your work. You're very welcome. Lisa says, Happy New Year. Thank you very much. And Happy New Year to you as well. I hope that the matters for the identity theft that was going on are resolved. You're very welcome. So let's start. I'm going to start from Michael says, Happy New Year from Sydney. Thank you, Michael. So, what Kyrie wants to do is she wants to sit in my lap now. And if you can see, she's here and she's going to sit in my lap and she's going to start kneading my thighs. And it is painful. Her claws are sharp. And this is her idea of having fun. She wants to sit here in my lap. So do you see her moving up and down? So she's now kneading my thighs. Kyrie, can you stop doing this? Okay, you want to show your face to everyone? Here is Kyrie. Okay, so Sue says this is the best show. Is it because of Kyrie? Here is Kyrie. She's like, oh, I didn't want to be picked up. Oh, she drooled over me. This is what they both do. They sit down with me and start drooling on me. I have to clean my. Okay. So she decided to go out. Sita, I do not have I do have a blanket here for the cats. So usually when she wants to sit in my lap, I just pick that up. But today I did not. Krista, yes. So her collar has that air tag from Apple. So we can track where they are. And they have automatically become trained as well that if you beep them, they come back. So if they're outside and you beep it, they know that we should go back. Somehow they just automatically developed it. We beep them when we are trying to find them, and they attached it to let's go back home. Skyfrog says, I have a new cat also. She has such sharp claws and crawls up my leg. Yes. Oh man, these are really tough. Denise says, well, Dr. Bean just got a lap dance for New Year's and drooling as well. Food beep. Okay, so I want to show you the funniest thing that I thought, which I made for you all during this year. And I don't know if it was this year or last year, but do you remember this Cake and Cove? I still remember when I made it, I made these two little characters and I animated them. There would be a foot that will squish this bigger one. This was the COVID. So it was Cake and COVID. This little one is called Cake. The bigger one is COVID, and COVID would get squished. So the foot that will come in to squish it was actually my foot. So what I did was I put a camera, my phone on the floor and walked in front of it. And then I drew frame by frame the foot from that frames. And the whistle that you would hear is me doing and the sound of squishing I bought from some sounds software. So check this out. So that was the That was the cake and cove. And Rima says I'm at 1%. I'm so sorry, Rima. Is that the your percentage or the battery for your phone? Yes, Alquin is. So Betty says that my cat's name is Zoe. I laugh because I never wanted an animal, but I found her. Cats are awesome. I'm sure that all pets are awesome. So second thing I wanted to show you was this. I had been doing something. Um, let me show you. Actually, I do not even know if I can show this. It will be. Let me see if I can find it. 1 second, please. No, it would take time. So these are the thumbnails of the videos that were done. Now imagine that for each video that has a thumbnail here, there is a video, and that video has at least 10 to 20 diagrams in it. And so I drew them all, including the thumbnails. So if you see here, these are all the, you might recognize some of these. Some of these are not probably recognizable because these are only on DrBeen, but you would see a lot of these. For example, you may have seen this one for the immunology, or this one, the plasma cells or B cells. And look at this one. Do you remember these? Hydroxy. This one. Was it Skyfrog who made or someone? I think it was another KoolBeen. So, anyways, this is a mast cell, angry mast cell degranulating. So these are thumbnails. I loved making this one. This is remember I discussed the EVs, extra vesicles in the nose, which become cool or cold, kills them during the cold time, and we then cannot handle viruses very well. This is that thumbnail. Look at these. This was a pathogen that was being fired. So these were the various Kyrie's back. People really loved this one. They loved the spike protein in the form of this little chicken. And these were supposed to be endothelial cells. I loved drawing this cytotoxic T cell. So just in some of the thumbnails. So this was funny. I did a video for DrBeen where one of the idea in that video was that some bacteria can pick up DNA from their surroundings, pieces of DNA, and they can use them to become more powerful or metabolize various things. So in the lab, if a bacteria is not ready to pick up things from the environment, then they chill it. And when they chill the bacteria with calcium phosphate, then small pores appear, holes appear in it, through which then the bacteria can receive DNA. And this is how they force it to receive DNA and incorporate that into its own genome. So this is how I depicted this bacteria getting chilled. This was funny. So this is also a video on DrBeen. So in this video, I wanted to say that Listeria monocytogenes has learned to escape phagocytosis. So I actually made it sit down on the desk and learn. So it is learning to escape phagocytosis. So with this, John says that Troll 2 is the scariest movie out there. I'm sure it is on some streaming service. Oh, is that the case? I'll watch it. Betty says you should make a book. So I am writing a book. at this time, I am writing a book. A publisher reached out. Their story is so interesting that the owner of that publishing company, um, actually, that company has published Dr. Jason Fung's book as well. So he himself had some long COVID like or Lyme like health issues. And some of the discussions on this channel helped him. And he says that he became very well after those discussions. And so he wanted to write a book about immunology that helped him from these discussions plus long COVID. So I am actually already writing the immunology book, which would have these drawings. And then long COVID book is being planned. So scary movies are good. M. Gregory says you can self-publish. I think I'll do that as well. At this time, I just thought there was a team that was helping put this all together. Okay. Betty says that he's so right. You have saved a lot of us in your reviews. Thank you very much. I'm grateful to be of service. So Joel says, have you heard anything about brain eating amoeba? Yes, we've studied that. Susan, thank you very much. So let's do this. A quick review of the current state of the world and then drawings. So I'm going to go back here. And if I close this, this is DrBeen.com. So we are creating a courses page. One of the criticism my company gets from potential investors or buyers of the company, they say that we do not like lifetime access because then you cannot earn again from the same person. So what we are doing is we are creating a courses page, which is kind of more normal in the education industry, where you come in and you buy a specific course. We didn't have the technology to do that. So by mid-January, we'll roll that out. In the meantime, our technology only allows you full access. So we will grandfather anyone who buys now and then stays further. So this is DrBeen.com. The link to this page is in the description of this video. And as I think you all know now, it is a one-time fee. There is no recurring, repeating payment. Okay, so the China's situation. And I think that you've all heard from various sources about China. Some may have scared us, some may have given just reports of it. Here is what I have been thinking, and I am grateful to John Snyder as well. He was discussing this with me today too. This is just my thoughts. There is no agenda in this one, just my thoughts that it's should be BF7, BF5 are more prevalent in there. And then if you see here, I'm going to show you our CDC. And you know that CDC was pressured to publish the newer variants data. But here, let it refresh itself. So if you see here, this lesser blue color, meaning lesser amount or lesser percentage, this is actually BF7. So BF7 was in the US for some time, some weeks, and it is actually reducing. The one that is increasing is the XBB 1.5. So BF7 and BF5 are doing a lot of damage in China or causing lots of infections in there. But in the US, they are actually not, at least BF7 is not gaining traction, which is a good thing. Now, will BF5 show up and cause issues? We'll see. But I think that our advantage in the US at this time is one way or the other, we have some sort of immunity in us. So either vaccine and infection, or infection and vaccine, or just the infection, or just the vaccine. But there is some way that our body knows. And I think more than 90% of us are in that condition, that state. So even when the immunity is waning, even when it is reducing, still we have some knowledge. And because of that, it is possible that newer variants are not as bad, but we'll see. My main concern is that as more and more infections would occur, they are expecting 250 million infections in 20 days. Who knows what kind of variants would come in? And as John was saying, most of the coronaviruses, SARS-CoV-2, are spike protein which binds with ACE2. Imagine if the SARS-CoV-2 picks up the spike from MERS-CoV, and let's say that is DPP4 binding, then this would become a new virus. So if there is such a radical shift or acquisition of new binding sites, then we will have one more pandemic. So that is the only thing that scares me about China's situation. That what kind of new, if it zips through the society that fast, what kind of variations will appear, and will there be variations? Of course, they will be exported. What will happen? So that kind of worries me. But the confidence, if this spike protein doesn't radically switch out and it stays the same spike which wants to bind to ACE2, then hopefully our bodies would have some way of protecting ourselves. There is a question from Dizzy. The question is, hello, Dr. Bean. Is there a chance of adverse events a year or 2 years post vaccination? I have family who have gotten 2 doses but had 0 reactions. Should I be worried about them 2 year post? So I know that those individuals who will come and watch this video and then look at this question, they will say yes. However, there has been no adverse events after many years. And I will give you all the prevalent theories, but mechanistically, there has been no adverse events after 2-3 years of the vaccine. So if they had the vaccine and they are 2 years post that, so there is no worry. Now, with this, let me give you the list of worries that people will share. That doesn't mean that these will happen. There are some people who can get immediate reactions. There are some that get within 2-3 months reactions. Some become vaccine injured within 2-3 months because of the antibodies. Here is what individuals have been saying, some doctors have been saying. One, for example, is the cardiac damage because of the immune system dysregulation that appears slowly, continues to damage, and would appear later on. We haven't seen any studies that has yet shown that. There have been studies that show autoimmune aspect of a vaccine injury, but that symptom set starts very soon. It doesn't start the next day, but it starts as the vaccine caused the autoimmune disease, and the autoimmune disease would then cause tissue damage, and one would start seeing them. So that can linger on for years. But staying silent, one more example, this huge big IgG4 issue that is going on. I discussed that as well. That got me some death threats yesterday, or thinly veiled death threats. For example, in this case, there are some folks who are saying that, well, when IgG4 are more, then slowly they would cause IgG4 related diseases. Or when the infection would occur after the IgG4 have increased, then IgG4 will try to handle the infection and will not be able to handle the infection, and there will be a problem. This is very similar to Tenpenny saying that we will become modified organisms, and then whenever the infection would occur, we will die because our cells would display spike proteins. And then when the infection would occur, our immune system will become active and would attack our own cells as well, and that would kill us. That is not a very accurate mechanism. The reason is very simple. If we have the spike protein that are on our cells, and our immune system is going to find them to be foreign, then immune system will find them foreign right from the beginning. A spike protein cannot appear on the cell surface and be thought by our immune system as our normal um, protein. And then when the virus appears, then our immune system looks at the spike protein on the virus and then say, oh, this must be bad, and then attack all of our cells. One. Second, it is actually not seen that spike itself become expressed on all of our cells forever. That is not observed. If that was observed, you would be sure to see studies everywhere. So that's also not possible. But there are clotting, that is a possibility. But again, that would start from the very early on. Autoimmune diseases is a possibility, but that would start very early on, within 2-3 months. And then cardiac issues are autoimmune issues, and they would start early on as well. So this is why I don't think that if everything is fine and they're healthy, then 2 years later there is something new that would appear. Of course, IgG4, my video yesterday was rubbing negatively to people because they thought that there is they, they so there are folks who are saying that IgG4 would also be promoting cancers. And this IgG4's presence is an indicator that the cancers would appear. If you look up IgG4 related diseases, the IgG4 here after third booster, I'm sure after fourth booster as well. If you look up IgG4 related diseases, where IgG4 is 40% of the IgG, overall IgGs, even in there have not been a conclusive evidence that cancers can occur because of IgG4s. There is a latest meta-analysis and a meta-analysis study done where the doctors found that it is possible that general appearance of cancers may have increased, and especially pancreatic cancers may have more association with IgG4 related diseases pathology, which means 40% of IgG for long time attacking the tissues, and then not IgG attacking the tissue, cytotoxic T cells attacking the tissues. I discussed that yesterday. So these are all, we'll continue to see how the science evolves. But I said that yesterday as well, which folks who were threatening me or who were throwing stones at me, they would ignore comfortably. And that was within the same study, the authors said that people developed infection after the booster and they only had a mild infection. And those folks who were propagating that this is a very bad thing, they were saying that after the booster, when IgG4 are higher, and if you get infection, you will be in trouble. So they would just not read what is in there because it does not serve their agenda. So anyways, I hope that answers the question. Again, the best is, if you're worried, this is what I say to my friends as well. Get yourself a baseline checkup. Get your heart checkup, get your blood checked up, do your antibody panel so that you can do a baseline to see where do you stand. Okay, so now going to go back to the, so text says, what is the likelihood of discovering subclinical heart issue if it's not looked for, like the Thailand study found, and what happens if subclinical heart issue are not treated? So there are two kinds of heart issues. If there are antibodies that are attacking the heart and then those antibodies go away, so they were increased for short term during the acute infection and post infection, and then they went away, fine, there was some damage and stopped. Especially after vaccine, I think it is more. But of course, there are all kinds of studies. So if you are someone who's pro vaccine, you would say this is more because of COVID. If you are someone who does not like vaccines, you would say it is after. So I'm not going to go in there. Just from a mechanisms point of view, this could be happening soon after. Now, if it is subclinical, that means damage is not sufficient. And if the autoimmune disease is continuing, then it would continue to cause damage to have an effect later on. So if this is a situation which may be possible, I haven't seen it yet, other than the Thailand study. If this is the situation, then a baseline anti-ACE2 antibody panel or COVID panel with baseline cardiac functionality should be done. I actually think, I was talking with one of my friends, that it seems like it is reasonable to almost have everyone in the world have their cardiac baselines done and immune baselines done, and the blood baselines done. So anyone who can afford it, they should get that done, just for a peace of mind. And if, God forbid, there is a problem, then to be aware of it before. So yes, so broken forever is correct. This is actually, even if you think about it for a second, let's call me pro-vax. Even then, I have no place to ask you to go get vaccinated or not. This is just not ethical. So those radio talk heads and TV talk heads, and who had been saying go do it, and if you don't do it, let's leave you alone and behind, and this is your, you may have heard those kind of things. That is actually unethical to do. Similarly, it is also not ethical to sit down and say don't get a vaccine if somebody wants to. I think the best way that we have handled it here on this channel is to provide whatever information we can. Now, it is possible that I have not covered so many studies. I cannot cover everything. Secondly, it is possible that I've made mistakes. So my thinking with the studies has become that once you hear that from me, it may be easier to go and look at the study and understand it. You might actually find that I made a mistake here or there, and you can then read it. And then with that education, you can make a decision. And it is really you, your family, your doctor who would eventually make that decision. This is why I'm actually not a fan of mandates, because mandates were forced decision. But if you want a vaccine, more power to you. If you don't want a vaccine, more power to you. You figure it out for yourself. And that is how I think we should be. And that is how we reduce this poison. I was being attacked yesterday with all kinds of weird theories. And then there was a demand that I look at those theories and then I acknowledge. And that just, I cannot, you make that decision for yourself. So with this, my service, I have been saying this for 2.5 years. My service is like this book. The book, if I pick up my medical book from here, it doesn't ask me to do something. It says, here is the information. So let's also agree that maybe I'm not the best book. Fine. Even then, at least I'm not here to say you should go get a vaccine or you should not go and get a vaccine. At the same time, I have always thought that it was important to tell you where I come from. So you have an open disclosure that I got vaccinated, my wife, my children got vaccinated, my wife got injured. All of that is in front of you. people actually ask me that if you are pro vaccine, then why are you talking about vaccine side effects and the clottings and others? And the answer is very simple. In medicine, when you talk about a mm, drug, you talk about what are the benefits of it and you talk about what are the harms of it. Then you talk about how to prevent those harms or cure those harms. So if we cannot say to a person that you should get vaccinated or not, we should at least be able to provide enough information to say if something happens, here are the possibilities of curing or healing or protecting. So that is why I find it important to discuss the clotting issues or the cardiovascular issues. And it is so very strange for me that the tribalism demands from me that if I am pro vaccine, then I should stop talking about the side effects and protections, or the early treatments or ivermectin and other, I should just not name them, or vitamin D's. Or the other demand is that if I am not good for vaccines, I should declare that, and then I should never talk about the benefit of a vaccine. Or I discussed bivalent booster a few days ago. Why did I do that? That is not a very healthy and productive dialogue from a medical platform. It may be okay from a political platform. I think even that should not be okay, but at least not from a medical platform. And I have paid enough price for this that I would know that this is how folks did. And what happens is, um, this is also interesting that new channel members, they do not have the history of how long we've been talking for 2.5 years, and then what are being said. So for example, I said this little segment here. This segment would get buried in this video, and not everyone will watch this video. So not everyone will know what my position is. And then they would see some other video and then criticize me and say, why did you talk about this or that? And they did not know my basic position. So that is a disadvantage of, and I cannot stuff every single video with this disclaimer. Every time I cannot put that before I talk about something. Skyfrog says, you have convinced me to start a YouTube channel. Absolutely, you should. I would love it. We should all do that. So this is the discussion. So I'm going to go back to so these are good questions. I'm going to go back here. And so XBB15, and there is a lot of um, noise at this time, at least on Twitter, that the CDC should have published this XBB15 presence and dominance much more earlier to be able to protect people, because there are surges of this and that is causing a damage. So that's something that CDC will have to figure it out. I want to now share one more thing. And that is interesting for me, because after many months, I became curious that how is China doing? And of course, China's data isn't still the most up-to-date data here. So if I increase the size of this, so if you see here, China still, at least in here, it is no reporting since 25 December. So I think they're going to be reporting once a month. However, it is interesting to look at US. So I'm going to remove other countries for a second. And so this is US. And consider that this is a situation that BF7 was here, is dwindling down. BF5 may be here, but we do, at least it is not acknowledged here on the CDC. And then XBB15, it has become dominant within, look at this very tiny amount of time, it has become dominant. So overall, what is the impact? And if I go to let's go to, instead of confirmed deaths, I want to go to case fatality rate. The reason for that is Let's see if I can find it first. Here. The reason for the case fatality rate, if you look at that, is it is a rate of from case to fatalities. So we can see what percentages of people, unfortunately, sadly, are dying out of what cases. So it's a percentage. So if you see here, the highest peak that appeared in recent past was March 20, 2022, and that was 2.75. Let me see what it is. Confirms death and confirmed cases between 7-day average. Okay, so 2.75% percent per 100 instead of per million. So 2.75%. If you see now, if I make it a little bigger, we had gone down. Our more recent, smaller height was 1.09%, 50% of this 2.5. And now we had gone down to 0.42, so 1/4. And there is an uptick. And as John was saying that as well today, that in the coming days after this holidays, and we'll see in the mid-January or after that what is real impact. But so far, the uptick here is not matched. And that is a fortunate thing with, for example, the uptick in March of 2.75%. We are still at 0.49%. And I wish we go down and not go up. So that is one. Now, if we look at Japan, there is a, I'm going to remove United States just for the clarity of it. So if you see here, Japan's most recent past case fatality rate was in November 4, 2021. So 13 months ago. And that was 2.77%. And then they had been pretty down. Their tiny blips 0.29. So remember, they're going down from 2.77%. So here 0.29. So almost 10 times lesser. 0.19. And nowadays they're at 0.22. They went up for, if I look at the recent past, the lowest 0.14%, which is probably 20 times lesser than the recent past. And now from 0.1314%, they have jumped up to 0.22. So within the context of this time frame, it is almost doubled. So if went up from 0.13 to 0.22, so if it was 0.26, then that would have been doubled the case fatality rate. But in the bigger picture, they are still down from 2.77% down to 0.22, 10 times below. And they've been 10 times below or more for some time. So that is Japan. Still, there is a tiny uptick. If I zoom in here, so now you can actually see that there is this uptick. So they had a recent uptick in October 21 or on October 21, 0.22%. And their recent lowest point was 0.07. So 0.07 in July to 0.22 is 3 times. That is in October. And now also 0.22. So compared to July, 0.07 to 0.22, they're 3 times higher in case fatality rate. But if you see from a larger wave, the most recent, the biggest wave they had here, that was 5.03%. So 5.03% versus 0.22%. So 5 times multiplied with 5, so 25 times lesser, and they are within that range. And the most recent bigger peak, 2.77 and 0.22, 10 times low. So that is also interesting because Japan is in the news as well. So yes, if you zoom in, there is an uptick. Look at this. It went from 0.06 to 0.22. That is almost 4 times. near 4 times. But if you see in the bigger picture, it is that way. Now, it will be interesting to see China. I think this is a thinking, so that means I can be totally wrong. And who can predict the future? I think that we will be here fine as long as the spike protein is not switched out from this virus, and it is still some shape of spike protein that still wants to bind to ACE2. Then I think we will. And in the US, we are really not locked down at this time. So we keep moving around, we keep distributing the infection, and I think we'll be okay. Even if we get imported viruses, for example, BF7 was coming from China and India, but we are okay. Even India is okay. I was reading a article from India where they said we did okay. Let's see if I can find that article. They said we did okay while it was tough on China. The reason it is tough on China was because China was zero COVID. So they had kept their society very immune naive. And so, of course, as the infection has started moving, or they have allowed it to start moving as people were protesting, so there's reduced the restrictions. But that had to happen. How long would they have kept their society in zero COVID state? So for them, it is a newer thing. Although there is vaccination, but that vaccination has been waned as well. The efficacy of the vaccination is in question as well. I heard some presenters saying that, well, I'm not worried about China because they have a non-mRNA vaccine and that would do better. It's actually not doing much better. mRNA or adenovirus, but these the inactivated virus vaccine, somehow I think in theory it should perform better because it has almost all kind of proteins in the virus, but it's not as efficacious. So China is more going to be in a rough state. I think we will in the US receive the virus, we'll have the tiny surges, and I think we'll be okay. But for example, what was I thinking today? During all my travels, I'm going to keep my Cofix RX, and I have no commercial interest with Cofix RX. This is iodine nasal spray. And those who may have thyroid issues, they should talk with a doctor before they try it. So I keep my Cofix RX with me, and it has really helped me. Or whatever vitamin D's and others, make sure that you, whatever way you know to protect yourself and you believe that you can protect yourself, protect yourself. But it seems like we'll do okay. So that is the um, my thought about it. So I actually, this is my drawer next to me, and I always have this in my drawer. This is called Cofix RX, but you can have anything. This is a, I think it is 1.25% povidone iodine. It may have other ingredients in it as well. There was a time, KoolBeens who've been here for some time, they know it. There was a time when I was getting infection almost every 2 weeks or 3 weeks. And then I started using this, and I have been in a good shape. The other thing, and Betsy, thank you very much. The other thing that I think is very interesting is, remember that study that during the cold season, the anterior nasal immune system, the EVs, I did a talk about this. The immune system here makes tiny decoy cells that it makes for the virus to attack them. And they are actually really cages for the virus. So they are not cells. The virus can get in them and find no machinery in there, no nucleus in there, nothing in there. So they're really decoy cages in which the virus gets trapped. In the cold, when the cold goes into our nose, it can knock down almost 50% of those EVs, making us at risk of the infections. That is why in cold environment, we get more cold. So just have a muffler or a scarf or something when you are moving about in colder environment to keep your nose warm so EVs are not knocked out. That is my so with the China debacle, the thing that I thought was, man, I'm so sorry that China is going to have a rough time, so that their healthcare system is going to get overwhelmed. They would have a hard time, and they're all human beings just like us. And it is a tough thing to have someone suffer or to have someone die in the family. So that was first. Then I thought about us here in the US, and I thought, let me look at the numbers. And so BF7 did not do the damage, although relatively there is a slight uptick. I think XBB is doing more than the BF7. Then John and I looked at Japan as well. So this is the situation, at least from a high level. So if I show here, this is Thailand medical news. Breaking COVID-19 news: is the new BF5 variant with ORF1A 12873V mutation driving COVID-19 deaths in Japan. Urgent research warranted. So once again, as I showed you, in Japan, the uptick is double or triple based on the nearest dips, but it is still 10 times lesser. So this is Japan. Then this is Boston. And here, I actually agree with this. There is a doctor here from Boston who was saying that my worry is the new variants. So I agree with that as well. Then John had shared this with me. This is the efficacy of the vaccine, the Sinovac or Coronavac or Sinopharm. And I believe this is an Argentinian study. This is another similar study. This we just saw the situation. Here is this tracker. Then there are, this is WHO, and there was the if I go to EF, so here BF7 and BF5 sublineages are the sublineages of BA5 Omicron. So BA5 has given these offshoots. Then this is the risk assessment from Public Health Ontario, Canada. This is October 2022. October, we are in December. But still, it was interesting for me to see that the convergence of spike protein mutations found in BF7 are of concern due to their ability to escape neutralizing antibody therapeutics. And then they talk a little more about the BF7. Of course, now we're in December, so at least in the US, we know what's going on. Then here is the Times of India. This is what I was trying to find out. So if you see here, when the BF7 appeared there, so if I go to severe, let me go to the top here. So BF7 is a great grandson of Omicron, which has a greater ability to infect previously infected or vaccinated people than the original Omicron. This property is called immune evasiveness. It essentially is the same virus as Omicron, but with additional mutations. There is no indication that it can cause more severe disease, he said while talking to INS. So that is BF7. And they said that it didn't do a lot of damage in India, which is again a good thing. And I wish China to be protected as well. Okay, so let me just quickly look at the comments going on here. Ruth says, thank you for supporting povidone iodine nasal spray. I've been using Immunomist, not a single symptom, though in theater pits elbow to elbow with performing musicians blowing air through horns. Yes, I sometimes think about it, that this spray has helped me more than HCQ in the beginning, IVM, Luffy or IVM, vitamin Ds, which tells me how important it is that the nasal area, which becomes the initial place for virus to gain traction, to keep that nasal area strong and better is how important. And the way I use this is that if, for example, tomorrow morning we'll go out for a KoolBeen walk, and I know it's going to be a little cold, so I'll just use it before going there. Or if I went out, let's say for lunch or dinner with someone, then before and after I'll use it. And with this practice, I have not gotten, even when I start getting cold like symptoms, I just use it. It probably has become a placebo for me with protection as well. So John says Texas make like 38% is boosted in young. I guess you're talking about the vaccine. Um, Thomas says that impossible for women before menopause to get heart attacks because they lose iron. No, that's not actually correct. If you look at the cardiac statistics, let me see if I can find out. Heart attacks. So if you look at the stats, you would actually see that they are actually very comparable. The only thing is uh, this is a, I don't want to call it a myth or a rumor, but this is an impression generally prevalent in the society that women get less heart attacks than men. Okay, so let's see. Golden Time says, if one get pericarditis in past, can we detect it after 6 months via the biomarkers like troponin, CPK still being raised? So depends what is the reason for the inflammation. If it was bacterial or viral, many times it will just go away. But if it was for autoimmune diseases, for example, meaning there was a continuous issue that was staying, then even after 6 months it may be present. But usually then it has symptoms as well, at least in adults. So yes, you can detect that with the markers, but pericarditis has its own set of ways to figure it out. So Thomas, spike protein, the FLCCC protocols in which some of these I discussed as well and contributed to, uh, easiest is autophagy. Autophagy, I have done those discussions that it allows a cell to eat up its internal waste products and clean up its house. So autophagy is the easiest and cheapest way to do it. But again, have to talk with your doctor to see if you can do the intermittent fasting and how much fasting you can do and so on. And then please look at FLCCC as well. So Texas says, except the 450 mild deaths a day in Japan right now. Let's see that. I'm actually looking at this data with you. So no challenge to your statement. Just want to see it. What is there? If I go to, so case fatality rate, so case to death 0.22%. Now, what are daily deaths? So here, this was, what is this? 7-day rolling average. If I said new per day, 3.39, is that per million? Don't they have the absolute number? So this is per million, 3.39 per million. So Alexa, what is Japan's population?
In 2020, the population of Japan was 126 million people.
So 126 multiplied with 3.39 is the uh, is the number. Alexa, what is 126 multiplied with 3? So I think your uh, Margaret, your number is probably correct. And if we go here, what is the lowest number they had in the recent past? If I increase this, That is interesting that per million deaths, they are at the highest at this time. That is very interesting. So, cases, how are their cases? Confirmed cases. Are they at the highest for the cases too? So, 1744 cases per day, right? New per day. So, case fatality rate, that is, folks out of these cases, so they have a surge. So, people out of it dying are still higher than their previous days and lesser 10 times compared to the previous, um, what is that, surges. So, yeah, this is a serious thing for them. How is US in the same context, in a similar context? If I go to United States and remove Japan, so United States confirmed cases. So this is absolute new every day. So there's no average here, just to see. So there, our highest were in January 2022, 4,006 per day. And we are now 296 per day. So Japan has more deaths per day than we have the cases per day. Or these are cases. If I go to deaths per day, 2.64, this is per million, 2.64 per million, multiplied with 300 million or 330. Alexa, never mind. So this is almost 600, 700, about 8, 900 deaths per day. And here, 12.19. So we had 12.19 per million versus 2.66. So we are still about 6 times below. But if I went to 7 days rolling average, do we see an uptick? No. So Japan is actually suffering more. And they're saying that it is possibly BF5. So we'll see. BF7 has already tried itself in the US and not really gotten hold. Good thing. I hope it doesn't happen with BF5 as well. Correct. So John says that they have BF5, I believe you're saying Japan, and we have BQ11 or XBB. So Golden Time says, do you think PD1 blockers have a bigger role in long COVID or vaccine injury as a CD4 plus exhaustion was evident in them? Can curcumin or methylene blue? So I have done these mechanisms before. In general, if you think about it this way, that there is something that is causing inflammation. Our body's final common pathway to respond to a pathology is inflammation. So that inflammation can appear in various ways, symptoms, depending upon what tissue or tissues are inflamed. For example, if it is joints, then we have joint pains. Muscles, then we have muscle pains and fatigues. Nervous system, we have brain fogs and nervous system issues, memories and recognition and vision and hearing and cognition. So the biggest hammer is steroids. Steroids would just reduce the inflammation, and if the damage is because of inflammation, then the damage would stop and we'll feel better. Then, so imagine you start from this bigger place that, okay, this is inflammation and not some tissue damage that has occurred forever. So, for example, imagine if there is no inflammation, but my lungs have become scarred and not functioning correctly, and I have breathing problem, then steroids are not going to do much to that. So once the steroids are used to see if it was inflammation, and again, doctor has to do it. They have to make sure that you don't have any infection, you don't become immunosuppressed so much that you develop infections and so on. So I'm considering that this is a doctor who is looking at these things. So steroids can give an inkling for what is, if it is inflammation related. Then they have to dig deeper to figure out what is causing the inflammation. And so for that, now they have to figure out, as you were saying here, that is this the immune cell exhaustion, or is it the immune cell overactivity? Is it the mast cell overactivity? Is it the macrophage overactivity? Is it B cells making more antibodies, or is it incorrect antibodies against autoimmune system? So there are so many. Is it the cytotoxic T cells misbehaving? Is this a pathogen sitting somewhere dormant? So all of those things, is it a genetic problem that causes the immune system to incorrectly attack or not function correctly and not protect correctly, which causes then infections and inflammations? So then the doctor has to go one by one to figure out the reason, and then based on that reason the correct answer will come in. So various kind of blockers for various cell types or various immune functions will be needed to be tried to see what is causing the inflammation. Happy New Year, JJ. Hello, back to you as well. Is Bambi Secret here? I saw Bambi Secret. Hi. Hello, Bambi Secret, if you're here. Okay, so we were going to do the drawing. So ready to do drawings? Happy New Year to everyone who is here. And I wish you safety, and I wish you peace, and wish you happiness, a great new year. I wish these pandemic times are now behind us, even when the endemic state is there. I hope China's situation is easily managed there, plus it does not spill over in the world to become one more pandemic. I pray for that. And I wish that we come out of these pandemic related issues and fights and politics and now start moving forward with our life and restore ourselves, restructure ourselves, become successful. There is a lots of stress, financial stresses, psychological stresses, continuous fights. It's just is difficult time. So I wish you all happy new year and a happy, safe, peaceful time and prosperous time. May you earn a lot of money and you become more successful if you want to earn money, if that makes you happy as well. But there is a baseline need for money to be able to pay your bills. So may you all be happy in whichever way you can be. So let's do the drawings. I am totally ready with the drawings. So here is the drawing board. Let's draw. Bambi Secret is here. Hey, Bambi, how are you? FL, you're very welcome. And what should we draw? I always like to see if we can draw a good turtle. So imagine if this is the face of a turtle. So don't expect highly of a good drawing from me. So here is the turtle. And let's make a little turtle shell. And then I do not know exactly how the turtle claws are. So here we are. And we make a tiny little. This turtle seems to not have teeth. And so it is going, and we should make some little patterns on it as well, or patterns. Tomorrow somebody is going to tweet at me that you made wrong turtle. We have a blog to prove you are wrong. So here we have a turtle. we are Nugget says, Doctor, good job. So to me, it just looks like these are uh, some dots there. So I think we should give it more color. Marsha says draw Luffy. Luffy is a very difficult one. I have tried to draw him so many times and I always fall flat on making a cat, but I'm going to try. So let's say here is our little turtle. Okay, cat. So I'm going to try to do the most easiest for me. And I am still sure that I cannot make a decent cat. This is the difficult part. So here and here and here and here. Okay. So then my apologies if you are a cat person and if you are totally offended with this cat, don't be offended with the cat but the drawer. So here, here, and then let's make a okay. So now the question is, where are the back claws? Okay, they are behind these claws. So shouldn't it be like something over here? So I do not know how to build that part. So let's do some decorations on this cat. Do you know that orange cats are 80% males and they are the most prevalent cats as well, I believe? Adibeen, thank you very much. Okay, so, oh, I did not make the whiskers. Here are the whiskers. There you go. So it is a cat without the rare paws, which is so bad. So, but hey, live with it. Okay, here we have a cat. Should we call it Luffy? I think Luffy will become offended, but this is Luffy. So, Adibeen, thank you very much. Good health and prosperity to you as well. Barbara says that's a really cute cat. Okay, thank you. To me, it seems like a tiger or something. I think the face is bigger than the cat's body, which gives it a different. Top cat. Yes, it's a top cat. Becky says, beautiful cat dog. Okay, I'll take that. Joy Fisher says, it's an indoor cat, doesn't have claws. Okay, so now I have to figure out how to make the claws. So give me 1 second. I'm going to figure it out. So, cat drawing. Okay, if I go to images, I want to see the cat from the front. Here, this is the closest. Okay, so the other claws are on the side. So I'm gonna now back patch the claws here. But how are the legs? These look like legs. So here, okay, this is it. I cannot make the claws. Look, what are you making me do now? Now it has become more horrible than before. Oh well, let's not make it further. Someone with, I believe it is Korean script says hybrid. Yeah, it looks like it is hybrid. John Snyder says Santa Claus the cat. Yes. Yes, Luffy sounds like Luffy. Yes. Okay, so what should we draw next? Happy New Year to you as well, Jeriel. Oh, I have one more thing. I have this here. The mid journey. This is how I made this Santa's picture that I shared, and someone took offense to it that they said this did not look like Saint Santa, or so my apologies to them. So here I made this one as well. Look, and I wrote photo of a Matryoshka. So I took this prompt from someone else. Winged Santa Claus, armored in gold, holding spears and orbs, standing in front of giant golden star. So how about we make together a New Year image here? What should we write? So G says, how about zinc nasal spray? I am sure zinc is very good as well. It is generally antiviral. Margaret McKinney says, adorable cat. Thank you very much. So, no, no, not at all. You are not ugly Santa. You are also a handsome Santa, or if not male, then apologies, pretty Santa. So let's absolutely, Gigi, and to you as well. Happy New Year to you as well, Carol. Uh, naked babies with DDs. You're gonna get me in trouble. So DDS says love and peace. Yes, today is just happy day. Experts in Santa claim Santa is not realistically drawn. Okay, so apologies for that. Okay, so if I said imagine a New Year celebration sky filled with fireworks. So let's see what does it make from this. It takes a little bit of a time and it will make something. We'll see. Trillium Lane says, thank you, Dr. Bean, for giving us the best place to go to for useful, thoughtful discussions all these many months. You're the best. Happy New Year. Happy New Year back to you as well. And thank you very much for coming here. So I am grateful for the opportunity to serve you. You can spend this time with someone else. You can hear someone else. So your time has been an asset for me as well. So, okay, tell me which one looks good. I will upscale that. I like the number 3 and 4. Which one do you like? DDS says, DDS says, it shows fireworks factory on fire. Okay, should we try once again? John Snyder says, good night. Good night, John. So let's do this. I'm going to make one more variation. So Kelly, yes, anosmia does get helped with zinc. Thank you very much. It's so sad I cannot pronounce your name. So, but thank you. Sky, how are things? Okay, so let's see what new came in. This is being built yet. It is okay. So, which one do you like? In this one, I like the number 2. How about if we said, imagine Manhattan skyline with New Year fireworks? Maybe it will make something better. We'll see. Alicia West, thank you very much. Happy New Year to you and everyone in your family, your loved ones. Broken Forever says, I like Mid Journey. So fun to mess around. Absolutely. So, what is Broken? What is your thought about the Mid Journey and the art? And I think It is the biggest art heist that ever happened because they took everybody's art, fed it into the AI. AI uses that to make these things, and you can even say which artists draw like whom, but these artists don't get any payment from it. And a few days ago, I was making some cartoons with Midjourney, and it made a cartoon with two pupils in their eyes. And I was thinking that if you fed Midjourney created images back to Midjourney, then it would continue to deteriorate in its art production because it makes erroneous art. So it would always need, at least for now, humans' art to stay on track. So those humans should be compensated for this. Okay, so tell me, um, which one, any picture from this one, or this one, or this one? I like three over here. Let's upscale three. It will make a bigger picture of that. So we'll see. Critical thought says none. Okay, so I'm going to redo this one as well while we upscale one. Broken Forever says, I think it'll help us appreciate real art even more. Absolutely. So Karen says number two in the first set and number three in the second. So let's see. I'm going to make them bigger. So number two, this one in the first set. So upscale number two and upscale number three. We'll see. Jobs are queued. Marsha says three on the bottom. So that would be this last one. I actually upscaled, I think I upscaled three, right? Yes. So let me, oh, here is a variation it made. Anything in here? I like this. I actually like almost all of them. How about number, do you like any of these? Oh, look at this one. This got upscaled. Too dark, but it is interesting because it had to make fireworks. This is one more upscaled. Actually, it's the same one. Let's see, more upscales would happen while we are talking. So three again in the last set. So let's see. I think I have, let's do upscale three. It is queuing the jobs. Wow, look at this one. I like this one. Although these fireworks don't make any sense. What is this? But still, they are interesting. Oh, that's a very interesting one. A cat setting off fireworks in a room with a bookcase. Evil Luffy. Let's do that. Imagine, imagine a cat setting off fireworks in a room with a bookcase. Let's see. Look at this one. I like it. I like the trees here and then the fireworks in the almost in the space. This one was a little erroneous. This one is good as well. So if you anyone needs any pictures for their New Year greetings to send, let me know. I'll make you those pictures. Hey Parth, how are you? Happy New Year to you as well, Parth. So let's see. DDS is writing something. DDS, you want me to open your chat live in front of everyone? Oh, look at this. These are actually cute. One, two, three, and four. I like one and three. What do you think? Joy says cat setting off a fire during a gender reveal party. That is so sad. These gender reveal parties are so out of control. Oh, that's a nice one. Megan says try a rocket in space dropping hearts on earth below. That's a cool one. Let's make that. Imagine a rocket in space dropping hearts on earth below. So Trish says I like them all. So let's make a cat big one as well. So let's start with upscale one. Let's upscale them all. We'll see. Okay, so it would queue them and it will make them in a few minutes. So Broken Forever says I use Dali. I like Dali as well. However, I like Midjourney more. Margaret McKinney says I like all the cats. Thank you very much. So I upscaled them all. Okay, so this was a rocket. Wow, the rocket fumes are looking like a heart as well. So, not the most accurate rendering. It is interesting though. I think a human will not make this kind of a picture. Do you like any of these? Alicia West says 3. Okay, so let's upscale 3 in this one. Upscaling 3. While we wait for the cats, all of them to be upscaled. Par says SpaceX rocket. I don't want it to start drawing Alan. Let's say that. Imagine a SpaceX rocket. Okay, look at this. Oh, this is so cute. So this cat is, I think it has a magic wand in its hand. So that is one cat. This is the other cat sitting in the window. Maybe I should post these for, if anyone wants any of these pictures, please tell me. I can post them on Discord. This is nice too. So 3 cats. Did it make anything else? Okay, so we made all of those. Anyone wants them, let me know. So these are SpaceX rockets yet being built. 600%. Okay, there we go. I like them. I like 2, 3 as well. 1 is good too. Cat 1. Parth says cat 1. So this is a cute cat. I agree. This is cute as well, doing magic. Look at the expression. And why did it not make number 4? Oh, here. This is number 4. This cat looks surprised at the fireworks. Okay, here is the. So interesting that the rocket itself looks like an earth piece. Meeple Art says all very dark and mysterious. Yes, because I think when I was saying fireworks or uh, fire, it probably, or space, it probably thought that it should be dark to make the fireworks look bright. Texas says anyone awake on this channel? All right, so we can stop. Lara, so okay, let's do this one as the last one. Lara says, yes, tell it Bengal cat. Let's do that. Or a magical cat. How about we said imagine a Bengal magical. Andrew says, try B cell producing antibody. Okay, so let's see. Uh, Imagine a B cell producing antibodies. So one day I tried to make a blood cell and I didn't know that the blood, the word was censored. So they blocked me. Oh, look at that. These are actually some cute cats. I love the number four, right? John says, try inputting cure for long COVID. Broken Forever says, I also like four, like blood test. So let's do this. I'm going to upscale number four. What did this make here? This is all SARS-CoV-2. Even the AI is infected by SARS-CoV-2, that B cells are actually SARS-CoV-2 for it. So to me, it seems like it is showing B cells connected with SARS-CoV-2 and reacting, but that isn't the best thing to do. Still, yeah, B cell will bind to SARS-CoV-2 through IgD. Okay, so I'm going to upscale number four over there from this one. I love this number four. This is number three is good as well. Number two is good too. Number one seems a little impoverish. Sorry to hear that, D. Matthews. Hope you recover fully and completely and are safe, sound, and happy. And Happy New Year to you as well. Free Cat says, my pain is down 2 levels since I started watching. Very good to know. So we'll have this cat. Wow, look at this. Look at this cat. This is a beautiful cat it made. Why is it making everything dark today, though? Should I upscale 2 and 3 as well? Let's upscale them as the last. Margaret McKinney says the backgrounds are dark because fireworks are set off at night. That is correct. With an owl, that is interesting. So if I said, imagine a Bengal cat sitting with an owl. Yes, Ramnik, it kind of looks like galaxies. So what I'll do is this, I will copy paste some of these in Discord general area. So if you wanted to pick it up and share with your friends as a happy new year, you can. Yeah, I should actually say that. Broken says in a light background. I should say that. Let's try that. Say, imagine a Bengal cat in an isolated white background on. Okay, so let's see. Oh, look at this. This this is also cute. It is making very fancy Bengal cats. Luffy will be jealous. So here are the Bengal cats sitting with the owls. Look at them. I like 2 and 1. 3 is okay as well, but the owl has this long tail like cat. It doesn't know that I think number 1 is the best. Number 2, the owl is actually sitting on the cat's tail. Number three, the owl is looking at the cat, but the cat is a little disproportionate. Okay, which one do you like, Texas? So these, oh, look at this one. Wow, that looks beautiful as well. Okay, here are the Bengal cats in the white isolated background. Although I like the ones on dark one now. These are cute. So with this, thank you very much, everyone. Happy New Year. If there is any question, please let me know. Otherwise, we can beach sunrise. I like this one. Okay, let's try this one. And then we'll stop. Imagine. I started writing imagine in the chat. Beach sunrise. To do says number three. Number three looks nice. Okay, upscale number three. Via Nugget says Dr. Happy. Lonnie says, your channel and information has helped me and my family. Thank you for your work. Wishing you and your family and KoolBeens a happy new year. Same to you and your family as well. Happy new year. Safe, sound, prosperous, peaceful. Happy new year. Lodazal, Lodazal says, glad I caught the end of this historic moment. Thank you very much. It is historic for all of us. Last one. Don says Steve Kirsch could be invited on as a guest. I had Steve Kirsch once, but now he has gone just too much in a direction which I neither agree with nor can understand why. But uh, so, no, he will not be invited. Um, so, again, very dark. Which one do you like? James Crook says, please tell us more about your upcoming courses. Are they available to existing subscribers? So, yeah, let me explain a little more about these courses. So, one and three. So, I'm going to do that, John, one and three. And then I'll talk about the courses as well. So, one and three. And this Bengal cat on a lighter background isn't looking that amazing as these were. Look at this, for example, or this one, or this one. So, okay, while it makes one and three, that is a good question that was asked about the courses. The so Don, I'll explain that in a second. So we have now, while it is making them, let me see. If I go to DrBeen.com, is back. If I go here in the video library, so there are some courses, a bunch of courses already here. However, currently the courses that are being built are this emergency medicine, this one. This is by Dr. Faraz Bhatti, and he is doing a great job with the emergency medicine. So he's creating more. So once this completes, for the customers who have bought now, till we start selling courses, they would have access to whatever is coming as was promised originally in the terms. So they would continue to have access to this and the newer ones. But as this course completes, we will start selling it individually. And I think it would be with CMEs about $100. Then there is a course that I am working on, and I'm very proud of this because I'm making so many diagrams That is the microbiology. So if you see in the microbiology, there are some older ones. This is like 10 years old. Then I did not really know how to draw very well. But now, if you see the latest ones, these are beautiful microbiology lectures. So that is a second course. And the third one is Dr. Thomas King from UK is producing dermatology. So if I go to dermatology with Dr. Tom King, so he's completing this one. And once this is completed, we'll have um, CMEs on this as well. This is Kyrie. This is so funny. Kyrie is standing here. So these are the three courses that are in play right now. And secondly, I'm going to be now taking some courses from YouTube that I have been doing 2.5 years, and then get CMEs on them as well. So that is what's happening. Now, let me very quickly show. So this is one scene. And do you see Kyrie sitting there? I think he's just slightly off camera. And this is the other one. Okay, I'll put them all on Discord. Now, Dawn, the you're very welcome, John. Thank you for the ideas. So I'll put them out on the Discord. And if anybody wants to pick them up and write Happy New Year and use them, please do so. Um, so full disclosure about Steve Kirsch, he had been a guest once with me. And then at one point, he did not know that my wife was vaccine injured. And when we found out, I had disclosed it to the community here and actually kept giving updates as well. My reason for doing that was that sorry, we talk about vaccines almost on daily basis. So I wanted to make sure that that aspect of vaccine is also uh, presented. But somehow, I think Steve did not know, or somebody from Steve team told him about 6 months after. And when they did that, Steve wrote a real nasty post. Now, Steve is my friend or was my friend. I don't consider him to be my friend anymore. But, anyways, he wrote a real nasty post implying that somehow I was deceiving people by talking about vaccines while hiding that my wife had the vaccine injury. And that's actually not the case. And so people picked up that post. He put that on Twitter. Twitter is just generally a nasty place. So, hey, Kyrie. So people started a thread there that should someone made a comment that Dr. Bean's wife should have died so that Dr. Bean was enlightened about the vaccine's negative aspects. Then others came in. Some said, yes, you're very right. It should have done it. It should have happened. Some started saying, hey, why should this happen? You should not talk like this. I reached out to Twitter and I said, look, these guys are talking about my wife's death. And some were actually wishing that we wish this has happened so he wakes up. And there was all philosophy happening that people were saying. Some were saying don't say this, and then others were saying, you know what, when somebody gets a real heartbroken, then they wake up. So there was just, so I reached out to Twitter. They said, sorry, it's not against our rules. Then I reached out to Pierre Corey, and I said that one, what he wrote is incorrect, and secondly, his followers are behaving in a very nasty way as well, while I have never disclosed this. So Dr. Corey talked with Steve. Steve apparently felt really bad that he did that and he didn't know that I had disclosed it. So he removed that post. He talked with me. He put an apology up there. But since then, I have lost my trust and respect for him. And that is just very simple. If he, for a friend, was not able to do sufficient diligence to make sure that what he's going to write has accuracy in it, then what other things he may have been writing incorrectly, and people are taken for a ride with those messages, in my opinion. So then, more recently, we had a encounter as well, and so for me, I am done with Steve. A person of this kind of um, moral sets does not work out with me. Although I'm grateful that he took the post down and he put an apology, but people still have the screenshots. They still sometimes send me those screenshots from every once in a while. Somebody sends it to me and says, "You deceived us. Uh, you had a maimed patient at home while you were deceiving us about the vaccines." So, such things. So he actually apparently thinks nothing of it, whatever. So he reached out and he was talking about vaccines and he wanted to debate me. And I just told him, I said, I don't trust you. I cannot be even, uh, I just don't trust him. So because of that, this idea that I should have him here is just out of question. So Don says, but you can't blame Steve for others' behavior. So that is what Steve said to me. He said, I can't control my followers. I said, but you have fed them enough of the um, lies that they are in that state of mind, that you write this and they start attacking. And so, yes, I cannot blame him, but he started that fire. He should have, he was my friend. He had my phone number. He appeared with me on a YouTube channel. You can actually find his talk with me. So he could have reached out and said that, hey, I'm going to write this post about you. I believe that this is what I heard. And uh, is this correct or not? That is a normal journalistic behavior. But he just found it to be sensational and he did it. So he started or did something, and then people's reaction is just all over the place. So this just tells me that for him, that is not important, that what he is saying is correct or not. What is important is, will it cause sensational outcome? That's my opinion. That's what I think. So no respect for him or his messages. And why I disclosed it, I don't want to say I will not call him or I would not bring him, and then you're scratching your head that why not. I always disclose what is driving my behavior. So this is the background. Yeah. So even now, a few days ago, he he just posted, I'm gonna have a discussion with DrBeen, and somebody reached out to me saying, hey, did you agree with for a debate with him? And I said no. And they said he has posted that you're gonna have a debate with him. So this time then I told him that please leave me alone. I do not trust you and I do not want to be um, talking with you. So that is still nice of him that he stopped. Um, he could have just continued doing whatever he was doing. So this is what happened. Sorry to Don's question brought up this little thing, but it is behind me. My general behavior is that when people behave like this, I just move on. I don't sit down and try to reason and try to correct. Because if somebody showed that color, then even if you hassle with them and have them feel that this was not correct, that was their basic um, thinking. And so be it. Hilary says, you make me glad. I have never been on Twitter and also not on Facebook, but YouTube. Twitter is a place which is interesting. So with this, let's forget about that. That's a somber story. Um, Stay happy, healthy, peaceful, prosperous. The For us, today is the Saturday, no, Friday evening. Tomorrow, so Sunday is the New Year. So tomorrow night, I guess. And for many of you, it will be probably coming night. So, whenever it is, Happy New Year. May you have a great new year without the worries of this pandemic. And may you be able to put it behind you and move forward and go and win the world and just thrive and be happy. We have suffered enough. 3 years of continuous sadness, destruction, and death has been hard. So just enjoy, be happy, um, draw cats, and enjoy those cats when you draw them. And look, Kyrie is sitting here next to me. Why not we stop at Kyrie? So I'm going to show you my camera trained towards Kyrie. And oh, she just, here she is, Kyrie. Okay, she decided. So you just decided to go behind the computer here. Okay. So with this, be happy, healthy. And if I have made any mistakes during teaching, there was such a huge volume of teaching. Every day a lecture. And it was not a reporting on something that, hey, I heard this news, China is in this situation. Drawing, looking at pathology, presenting the pathology, explaining it. So I'm sure that I made mistakes. So my apologies for those, not intentional. And wherever I found out, I fixed them. At the same time, when I thought I'm not at mistake, then people found it very strange that I would not listen to them. That is something that bothered many people. They wanted me to be pushed around because maybe I just sound soft and uh, maybe pushable. But I have this thing in me that if I feel I'm correct, then I don't budge. If I feel I'm wrong, I find out I'm wrong, I very quickly change myself. So uh, with this, apologies for any mistakes. Happy New Year, and I would see you on Monday. Bye bye for now. Yes. So Lisbeth said walk in the morning. Yes, we will do a walk in the morning. Absolutely. Do you do you see Kyrie's here? Hey Kyrie, come in the scene. Okay, Kyrie is just bye bye. Happy New Year. See you on Monday.